All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin, and I'd like to welcome you all to our latest Novedge Webinar Series episode. We have with us today Sundog Eyewear Creative Director Michal Hrk, demonstrating a typical design workflow enhanced with solid thinking involved. Watch as Michal walks you through from an initial sketch. We'll explore styling alternatives and visualize new products with realistic renderings before ever exporting the digital models required to complete the product development process. For those of you who don't know who Michal is, Michal Hrk has years of experience in both the advertising agency world and graphic design world, but before joining Sundog Eyewear as its creative director. Over the past few years, his role has evolved from traditional graphic design and communications to product design and styling of sunglasses for both performance, sports discipline, as well as casual and lifestyles. Today's presentation is about 40 minutes long, and afterwards we'll have a brief Q&A where Michal and Darren from solidThinking will answer your questions live. So submit your questions to us at any time into the chat window below. But before we get going with today's presentation, here's an overview of what we do at Novedge. So the Novedge Webinar Series is brought to you by Novedge.com. As one of the largest online design software stores, we offer a huge assortment of software solutions that cater to virtually every designer's need. To pick up a copy of Solid Thinking Involved and to see our complete Solid Thinking catalog, you are welcome to call and speak with our specialist, Bob Thayer. You can reach him by his email address, bob@novedge.com. And to get a glimpse at who is changing the world of design one step at a time, please visit Novedge's very own blog. Every week, our interviews shine a light on those innovators whose work break out from the norm. So for more details, please visit us today at blog.novedge.com. And to stay up to date with the latest product promos and Novedge webinars, like us on Facebook. Coming up next week, a 3D sketchbook is where your ideas can drive. Moto Creative Specialist Greg Brown shows us how Moto 701 complements other CAD tools, allowing you to experiment with design ideas without ever worrying about underlying surface structures. See how Moto 701 empowers more exploration of design ideas to help you make your decisions quickly. To sign up for this webinar, head on over to novedge.com/webinar/97. And last but not least, today's webinar is being recorded live, so if you want to rewatch episode 96 in its entirety, as always, you can always find it on Novedge Webinar Series channel through Vimeo and YouTube. Michal, are you ready?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to switch over to you now. I just have to find your name. There we go. All right. So attendees, go ahead and submit your questions to us at any time in the chat window below. Thank you. Enjoy.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin, and welcome to everybody. And thanks again for joining us today. So I'm not going to run through the intro. Thanks again to Kevin for introducing myself and kind of a little bit of a background on our company. So what I want to do today is just kind of show you guys.
Oh, Michal, you might want to share your screen.
Oh, sorry.
And you might want to speak into the mic. There we go.
There we go. Okay, is this better now? Everybody
Absolutely.
hears me clearly?
Cool.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, anyways, what I wanna just kind of focus on today is first of all what appealed to me as a designer in selecting solid thinking as a tool for me to get better products quicker out of the market and whatnot from the design standpoint. So there are really there are many things that are extremely well designed and thought out in solid thinking. But before my background is I don't have any official 3D modeling or engineering background. So what I was looking for is the simplicity in the user interface, which solid thinking has done an incredible job of delivering, as well as because of my position is kind of splits between a product development as well as a traditional graphic design. I do work on a Mac, so the CAD software that is out there available on a Mac is not the availability is not that great as it is for PC. So solid thinking was a great tool to fill that void. So I've been using it for a few years now, I believe since '09, late '09 or early '10, and never really looked back. It's a great tool. So what I want to kind of show you guys is just, and this is probably everybody is does their own way of creating stuff, and everything that I do starts on a piece of paper with a pencil and just an initial sketch. So I just want to kind of share a couple of these with you, and this third one that you see right now on the screen is the pair of glasses that I'm gonna just walk you through in terms of modeling it. The reason why I chose this pair of glasses, and I can sorry, before I go any further, before using solidThinking, what I used to do is just render out a photorealistic renderings in Photoshop. So do things like this and submitting these to the manufacturing department, which, as nice as it is and polished and highlighted, it still leaves a lot of detail for interpretation, and things don't get translated as well. So to me, what solidThinking brought was just the control over how things get passed on into the manufacturing process. So just to kind of give you an idea there, I want to jump here. So this is the pair of glasses that is kind of the finished sort of have done model. So this is what we're gonna end up by the time we're done this webinar. So without further ado, I'm just gonna close this and start off my document that I have ready. So in terms of the time that we have available to us, I have a bunch of curves, like very basic geometry pre-created, so it doesn't take us a ton of time to fit everything together. But again, one of the great things about solidThinking was just the to me is just a curve tool and the ability and the control that this tool has in terms of manipulating the basic geometry. So let's get rid of this. So this is our perspective view here. So what I want to do is, when you think of a pair of glasses, it essentially contains, it consists of two main surfaces. The inner surface that kind of runs around your face and the temples of your head, and then the outer surface, and then the gap between them essentially makes the thickness of the glasses, if you will. The reason why I chose this pair of glasses is it's a lot harder to, I find a lot harder to model something and have control over modeling a surface that wraps around and curves in a little more organic manner, as opposed to if you were to think of a Wayfarer Ray-Ban type of style, where the frame front is a little flatter and the temples shoot out. That geometry is from the standpoint of 3D modeling is little defined, a little easier to create. So let's jump right in here and use a couple of tools. So again, there are different ways of landing in the final result that you want. Everybody will find their own way, so don't take this as this is the way it is. This is just the way things are logical to me. So just to kind of share this process with you. Every tool in solidThinking, as you select it, gives you a prompt commands at the top. So it basically tells you what to do. So it tells you to pick the profile curves here. These are my profile curves. Hit spacebar, select the extrusion curve, and geometry is created. There are three main modes in solidThinking, which is select object mode, edit parameters, and a point mode. So in edit parameters, this is where you get all the parameters of a particular tool. So in here, what I want to do is, this is one profile, this is the other profile that I selected. I just want to move this profile a little bit somewhere in this area, so I'm gonna move it somewhere in there. Here you can rotate the profile on the along the curve. So I think just moving it 1 degree is about the right amount. So I create a basic surface. Now what I want to do is a great tool that solidThinking offers is a stretch tool, which essentially allows me to take the surface, stretch it out, and then cut from it and stretch it, kind of wrap it back around a skeleton, if you will. So again, select tool, select our object, select the spine curve. So there we go, and a stretch. So now we have our object stretched out. So now I have pre-made the outline, very basic, and you can see it's kind of misshaped, but you will find that as you model, you're going to have to adjust your curve to the final result of what the 3D model ends up being. So let's just use a trim curve here, or trim tool. Select the curve, trim out of the surface. We need to reverse that. Now let's cut out the eye or the lens piece. Now that's our basic surface, and now I'm just going to repeat that step and stretch back over another curve. And the reason why I do that is just so I have more control later on to differentiate between the curve that I stretched afterwards as opposed to the curve that I used to model the initial surface. So anyways, this is just to give me more control over the
Michael, I hate to interrupt, Michael, but could you speak up a little bit louder? Yeah.
Oh, sorry
Yeah.
about that.
There's all those little minor details.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool.
Okay. Hopefully this is better. Okay, so now there is a set of other curves I just unhid. Everything in solidThinking. The other thing that is very powerful is the world browser, and also the construction tree, which at any given point you can just go in and see how the geometry has been made, what curves, what other tools have been used, and all that. It's all kept intact. So let's just use a different tool. Instead of a loft, let's use a simple pipe. So what that is just a profile curve running on a rail. So again, stretch this out. Here we have a surface, and now cut out of here the outer outline. I want to show you here that you can, depending on how your curves are made, you can select a group of curves and trim from one single group into an object. So that just makes the modeling process a little faster, a little quicker. So again, switch this, and in this case we'll just use the same stretch curve as we did before. So what do we have right here? I'm just going to hide these so they don't bother us. Is the basis for the outer surface, the inner surface, sorry, and the outer surface of the pair of glasses. One other thing I want to point out is here's the edit parameter tool that I talked a little bit about before, and right next to it is a points edit tool, which when you enter this one, it just gives you a group of points which you can manipulate if there is ever a need for added control and added geometry that you need to manipulate. And the good example of that would be, let's just say on the pair of glasses, the nose pad kind of comes out. So I'm just going to select a point here and simply move that out. And what this does, it doesn't distort or doesn't ruin my geometry. It is just basically adjusting the points at any given time. If you don't like the result, you can either undo the selected objects, or if you just hit undo all, everything sets back based on the original geometry created. So anyways, let's give it a little bit of a curve here. so these glasses are going to be a little more comfortable to wear. And now I'm going to simply blend these together. So let's just start with the lens. Selecting a blend tool, pick an object, select the edge, pick another object, select the other edge, and it creates a blend surface. Now here you have in the edit parameter mode, you have all the parameters of that blend. So as you can see, it's fairly soft blend. I want to kind of have it more of a chiseled look on the edge. So instead of smoothness 1, I'll just go down to 0.5 on both, and you can play around with this. This is a great tool that allows to have a different control of the geometry created. So let's just go back to 2.5, and let's repeat the same step. Connect the outer surface, and again, just seems a little bulgy, so scale that down a little bit. So now this kind of shows you how easy it is to create a geometry that flows and kind of changes shape along a rail, if you will. Yeah, one other thing I want to point out, and this is just the way, because glasses are a symmetrical object, I model 1/2, then mirror it, and just to get an idea of what it's doing. So select all the geometry I want to mirror. Okay, not along that axis. So I'm just going to redo this again. So select all my objects, hit space. Now it kind of gives me an idea that it does look like a pair of glasses that a person could actually wear. So anyways, we don't need this for now. I'm just going to get rid of that. So here comes another big advantage of solidThinking's construction tree, where nothing is deformed, or geometry is always, all these elements are linked into one another. So, and the power of that really comes when you try to explore the design a little further. And what I mean by that is, let's just say the temple here, you'd like to make it a little deeper. Just don't like the way it's meeting the inner surface here. So what I'm going to do is just simply go into the through the construction tree, find the curve that was used to create that detail of the model. Simply go into the edit parameter mode. Here are my points of the curve, and I can just select the point and move it around, and you can see how it adjusts the geometry there. Let's just make so this is a very organic way of modeling. If at any point I find that, okay, I like what's going on here, but I just want to do a different option, what you can simply do is copy that curve, duplicate it, and use it in a tool, replace it with the other curve, just to get a different result. So this is something that that helps me quite a bit in the design exploration. Again, here, let's just say I want to thin this out a little bit, where the frame front kind of meets the temple. So move that down. You're going to see that after it takes a little while for the processor to update that, and it just changes the geometry where you adjust it. So Okay, so let's just say we are happy with the way this is coming together. And what I've shown you before is when I mirror the other half, or when I mirror this half of the glass that I design, is I don't usually worry too much about the connecting point at this stage of the game, because I know that most likely it will not be, as you can see in detail, this is not very flat, very flat surface. So what I want to do here is just simply show you another tool that I use quite a bit, which is an intersect tool. So I'm going to create a simple plane and essentially cut away that excess piece. And again, I don't want to cut it right in the middle, because this is going to be a very hard connector or connection point, which is going to give me grief when I want to render it later on and whatnot. So I'm just going to move this in. Oops. My mouse is, come on. I want to move this in slightly. So I'm going to add a couple sections just so, oops, not 40, maybe 4. That helps me with cutting away that piece. So I'm going to group all this geometry that we've just created into one simple object by using a combine tool. So select a group of objects, hit spacebar, and now I have one solid object. Well, not solid, it's still kind of opened here. So now I'm going to use the intersect tool, so selecting this object, and what I'm going to do is just simply get rid of the surfaces that I just don't need here, and I'll make it a hollow, so not a closed, not a watertight object. So now now we can mirror this. So again, select, because now this is one object, I can just select the whole thing, pick my center or the axis of the mirror. Oops. Change the orientation. There we go. That's the right way. Now you can see that this is now symmetrical with this little gap in between the glasses. And what I want to do now is just simply blend these. And this is yet another tool that I find solidThinking has it really excels for me in terms of tools like this, where it just makes it simple and easy to make a surface that is nice and clean and smooth. And this is not gonna give me an issue in rendering. And again, you can set the smoothness here in parameter mode and whatnot. And it is pretty continual surface. So that kind of brings us to a closure of how to design, how to kind of get that sketch into a 3D model that actually has some substance to it, and you can further go in and cut away pieces and just be creative and without any restriction of like worrying too much about the numbers and making geometry more in an organic form. So what I want to show you here, so then so we can just select this. We can add a material in a library of pre-built materials into the material library here. So let's just make it a plastic, or make it a paint. We want to paint it. Let's just pick this nice orange, or this purple actually, which is a nice pre-made color. Select the white background, and just to do a quick render, I'm going to set my options just so it's this is going to be a little small, so bump up the resolution of the final of the render, and you can see it gives you a pretty good, right off the bat, a pretty good preview of what that object that we just modeled renders out like. And again, a lot of times what I do, I take stuff from solidThinking, go into Photoshop, and do tweaks, touch-ups if needed. With this particular pair of glasses, when I model them, this is the final render. I'm just going to show you here. This is a render out of solidThinking, then added in Photoshop, and this image has been used in our catalog a couple of years ago because the pair of glasses, the catalog was going into production way before the production sample was made. So again, this was a great tool to have something that we normally wouldn't be able to show in a printed material that goes out way before the product has a chance to be manufactured or even a sample made. And you can actually buy the glasses right here. So that kind of shows you that right from that initial sketch to have a product that is actually out in a market and is being sold in retailers worldwide. Yeah, without a tool like solidThinking, this would have been a little different journey. So that kind of wraps up this this portion of the model, and I want to ask Darren if he has anything to add at this point, if there were things that he'd like to talk to in terms of things that maybe I just missed. Or
like we talked before, I think it's just it's really interesting always to see how different people use tools in different ways. And when you originally showed us your process, it was interesting for me just because I see people doing similar products but using completely different processes. So I think it's beneficial just to see how you go about creating this particular model. So, you know, one of the most frequently asked questions we get is, how do I model such and such a object or part? And it's a really difficult question to ask because, like you said, there can be so many different ways to approach the same thing. So
right.
I think what we've seen from your process is you've learned where the areas you want to have control and where the areas you know you can nail right at the beginning. And so your process, by using the stretch tool and using the lofts and the bi-rails, gives you the amount of flexibility in the areas that you need, and that's you know, that's pretty valuable information to see that.
Right.
So the other thing I'll mention is just kind of related to this, because you said you're initially, before you really got into using 3D and started using solidThinking Evolve, most of your design process was fairly two-dimensional. And so you alluded to it a little bit, but we see this trend not only just in eyewear, but all different industries, where the designers are feeling the need to have more control, especially since more and more manufacturing is being done overseas, and it's kind of out of your hands.
Right.
So obviously that's probably been a big part of your move over to 3D, I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that kind of face the same challenge, where there is only so much detail and so much can be transferred, I guess, in a 2D model, or in a just front, side, top elevation, top view, and then it's up to the manufacturer to kind of finish up the design part of it, which at the end could could come back not exactly or quite a ways away from what the intent was. So yeah, that's another thing that to me solid thinking does. It just allows me to explore the design before I then take a model like this and pass it off to the manufacturing department, where the engineers will then take this, strip it down, and make sure the tolerances are what they need to be and all that. But those are the things that I don't excel in, so I try to stay away from and let other people, let the engineers figure out the ins and outs of it. But to provide them something that is a little more tangible that they can follow, it's just invaluable, because now they have an actual surface that they know how what the intent behind it is, and they can then tell me, yeah, this looks nice, but there's no way we can get this out of the mold, or it needs to be changed here and there. And yeah, it's a whole new level of just approaching the design and product development, because it just eliminates a lot of frustration and eliminates a lot of guesswork, I guess. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, other than the increased control over the final product, has it affected your speed, your design speed, or has that stayed pretty much the same?
Absolutely. I mean, I also, the other thing that I used solid thinking for is even after a model like this gets submitted to the manufacturer, a file that is more refined comes back, but yet I find the details of it that are not quite what I'd like them to be. Solid thinking still gives me the ability to just take that part of the geometry, even though it hasn't been created in the software. They use their other platforms, but I can take a geometry, build upon it, and just communicate the change that needs to happen to get the product to the stage that it needs to be in. So and those things, to answer your question there, and like those things in before I had this tool, like it was always taking a picture, trying to model with it in Photoshop, send it back. There is always a time difference because I mean, our company, our manufacturing facilities are halfway across the world, so the time difference. So by the time a simple question could be answered, it's sometimes a couple days, few days, sometimes a week to get it to the point where you go, this is exactly what I intended, as opposed to now it's really shrunk down to hours, and basically next day return, next day communication, and yeah, so that speeds up the process like just exponentially. So absolutely.
Nice, very nice.
I guess I have a question, because you brought up, Michael, you brought up platforms, and
Yep.
I guess I could ask both of you guys. I mean, there's a lot of tools that can kind of do what solid thinking does. I mean, what sets solid thinking apart from, say, like Rhino or Autodesk? For your workflow, I mean, is there something that solid thinking brings to the table that's completely different? I mean, in terms of like imports, or in JP's case, for 3D printing, is it able to be? Is it optimized for that?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there are things. I mean, I can take this object here and just go in simple save as, and solid thinking gives me all the different file formats that I can export this out into. Sorry, and yeah, in terms of comparing it to another modeler, me personally, I did very little behind. I mean, I did a lot of research before choosing or going with solid thinking. As I said, my main things were just the ease of use, the user interface, and looking at a program from more of a designer's mindset. So being a little more intuitive and those are the things that I can't really compare to something else, but I just find that coming from Adobe world and Photoshop and Illustrator and whatnot, it was an extremely smooth transition, I should say, into solid thinking, because a lot of things, even the way the icons are laid out, they're very intuitive, and so I'd say from a designer standpoint, to truly explore design possibilities and options is that's what I find like solid thinking has been great. Yeah, Darren, you?
Yeah, it's just a related topic. We just had a question come in from JP, who's asking about tools for to review models to go to 3D printing, and I was just responding, so I'll finish typing this, but I'll talk about it while I'm typing it. Is we have an advanced tessellation tool. So if you really want to, like Michael said, you can certainly just take this object and you can save it as a OBJ or STL and send it out that way. But if you really want to see and change and adjust the coarseness or the fineness of the mesh before you send it out, you can use the advanced tessellation tool, and you can change the parameters and you can adjust it, and then you can save that out, so you have more control. There's also a video in our tip and tricks, so we have a bunch of tip and trick videos that are available on YouTube. They're also on our forum, and most of them are on our website also. There's a particular one that I did specifically on the advanced tessellation and exporting for 3D printing, so be sure to check that out.
But it does sound like a good time to maybe cover some of the questions that we have here. If you guys have any more, just feel free to email me or submit them into the chat window now. I'd like to forward that to Darren and also Michael as well. So, but let's look at the first one. This is from Vlad. I'm trying to translate this. How do you work with documents and layout and hatch sections and dimensions and layout? Darren, it might be lost in translation on me, but what was your response?
Yeah, so if we want to flip over really quick, maybe I can just show a few things, and
give me a second.
Maybe that'll make a little bit more sense for people. But yeah,
here we go, Darren.
We can export PDF files, and we do have let me just jump up in here, and you guys can see my messy desktop, but that's okay. So basically, you can kind of do layout drawings of this nature. You can dimension. You can either do dimensions and type in the values, or you can do associative dimensions, so that when you change the model through the construction history, the dimensions will also change. Sometimes it's really helpful if you're sending out something to be made, to have some rendered images, so you can lay these out however you want. Part of the question that he asked also was for section views and hatching. We currently do not have the tools to handle section views. That is an area that is being rewritten as we speak. That's been under development for the past couple months, and will be coming to a release very soon. So those are areas that we're working to improve, and we have some capability there already.
And to add to that, Christian wants to know, are those dimensions parametric?
They're parametric in the sense that if your model changes, the dimensions change. So yes, we offer two types of dimensions when you go through the dimensioning tools. Sometimes, especially let's say in the furniture industry, where sometimes they just make very simple, fast models that aren't dimensionally accurate, but they just need something to send to the shop, and they want to build it to accurate dimensions. So we let you put in one method. You can put in your dimensions, and you can assign whatever dimension you want, even if your model isn't exactly that size. So it's just a really fast, easy way for some people to work, which we've had a lot of requests for. The other way, like I mentioned before, is to use the associative type dimensions. So those stay linked and attached to your model. So as your model changes in size, so does your dimensions.
Cool. And there was a question that was referring to Blend G2 during Michael's presentation. I think you answered this as well, Darren. Is that a Blend G2? And then he was like, is that a Blend G3 as well?
Yeah, for that particular tool, and different tools have different capabilities. So for the blend surface tool, by default, it tries to achieve G2 if it's possible in the geometry. And you can also, in some cases, you may want to revert to G1. So that's an option also. You can revert back to G1. And then like Michael showed, you can play with the amount of lead-in. We call it the smoothness of the curve, but it's really you're playing with the amount of lead-in on the CVs of the geometry. So that particular tool is G1 or G2. We do have other tools that a few tools that allow G3, but most of the tools will go up to G2.
Cool. And then I do have a slightly off-topic question from Alex from the UK. He says he's a student from the UK, and he's wondering if he wants to know how Michael presented his classes so cleanly in Photoshop. And Michael, I remember you did mention briefly Photoshop, so maybe we could switch back to your screen and see what's up.
Sure.
Okay. A lot of switching back and forth today.
No problem.
Cool. There you go.
So I'm just gonna try to find this. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I left that one for you because I wasn't sure exactly what you meant by how clean it was.
Yeah.
And I figured since you're the one, the master Photoshopper, then I'll let you.
Yeah, no, it's all it is just I mean the basic outline of the glass. It was,
Oh, Michael, you might want to make sure to share your screen as well.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting that.
It's all good.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
You're live.
Can you guys see this?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So this is the style here. Yeah. So I mean the basic outline and everything. It has been done. It has been done in Illustrator in curves and whatnot, just to give me the outline and the main shapes of the way the surfaces break and whatnot. But then, like the shading and everything else, it's just simple brushes in Photoshop. I do use a Wacom tablet, so that makes it a lot easier to for longer strokes and mask stuff out, to have a little cleaner output. But yeah, there's no real magic to this. It just takes a little bit of time. So. And when I say that, again, back to the question that was asked before of how fast or how much does the solidThinking improves the speed at which I can create or bring a glass from a conceptual drawing to a finished product is incomparable. I mean, just a simple rendering like this would pretty much take me better part of probably a whole day. So from like right after I have the idea and solidified and have some bases in Illustrator, because there are dimensions that you got to kind of adhere to, how long the tempo is and the frame front and whatnot. But those are things a little more specific to the eyewear industry, and just the autonomy of our heads. But yeah, just to render something like this out would be pretty much a day for me to kind of play around with it. And again, at the end of the day, it does leave a few things out for interpretation on the other side. So where I'm really relying on the engineer on the other side of the spectrum to translate my idea into something that is viable, which could be kind of tedious, and then the communication is back and forth. Well, I wanted the surface to break this way, not the other way, and so those things I can hash out in solidThinking and send over a file that is a little more defined, and the guesswork is eliminated. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds almost like a architecture workflow as well. It's like you want to make sure everything is fine and all the dimensions are correct before you send it off to the contractor. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I think that pretty much sums up the Q&A and also the presentation as well. So I guess I'll switch back to me. I do want to mention, Darren, that there is another question, one last one about the G3, but that's totally related to that. So.
Yep, I've got it right now.
Cool. So I'll switch back to me right about now. There we go. Yeah, so let me know if you guys can see my screen here. Awesome. I think so. From what I can tell, yes. But yeah, I mean, I want to thank everybody for joining today. Here's a big thank you slide right here. Michael, thank you for bringing in your creative side, and also Darren, the more technical side. But yeah, I mean, with solidThinking involved, you can definitely achieve these type of results. You want to have control of the design, and solidThinking enables you to do that and empowers you to do that as well. But yeah, I mean, today's Novedge webinar series is brought to you by Novedge. If you guys are looking to pick up solidThinking Involved and to see our complete solidThinking Involved catalog, solidThinking catalog, you're welcome to call and speak for our specialist, Bob, there. You can reach him by his email address, bob@novedge.com. And Darren mentioned briefly there were some videos and tutorials. You guys probably have a forum as well, correct? You should have a forum. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the website, the forum, that's all been redone and brand new. So if you haven't been there in a while, be sure to check it out.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's going to be at solidthinking.com. So if you guys want more questions, you have any more questions, I'm sure Darren or Michael are going to be around there to respond to it. So definitely check it out. I do want to say that if you want to get a glimpse of who is changing the world of design one step at a time, please visit Novedge's very own blog. Every week we have interviews with people who are doing crazy things. So do check it out today at blog.novedge.com. And to get the link for today's webinar, head on over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Novedge. Like us and make us part of your stream. Yeah. And that'll be the quickest way to get the updates for when the links are up. Coming up next week, 3D Sketchbook is where your ideas can thrive. Moto Creative Specialist Greg Brown shows how much Moto 701 can do to complement your other CAD tools. So if you guys want to check out this webinar, it's going to be at novedge.com/webinar/97. And I do want to mention that if you guys have any questions, comments, feedback for today's webinar, let me know. You can email me at kevin@novedge.com, and also your other technical questions for solidThinking too. So last but not least, today's webinar is recorded. So head on over by today's end, or should not be tomorrow, because yeah, it's going to quickly convert. It's going to be at youtube.com/Novedge and vimeo.com/Novedge as well. So a lot of slashing today. But yeah, other than that, thank you for joining us. Darren, Michael, if you guys have any last words, now would be a good time to say bon voyage.
Yeah, I'd just like to mention really quick that we're all about getting feedback from people, and the questions are great. And be sure to post up questions on our forum, go to our website, and get a hold of us if there's things that are missing or things that we should improve or need to look at. We're listening, so be sure to contact us.
Good to hear. Michael?
Yeah, no, I'd like to just thank everybody for taking the time, and thanks to Darren and all the team at solidThinking to putting together a tool that helps us make great products and makes it actually fun in the process. So.
Fun at work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't tell anybody.
All right. In that case, you guys have a good one. Take care. Have a good one. Ciao.
Thank you, guys.